Okay, whether you're dating, newly married, celebrating a big wedding anniversary, or on the brink of divorce, you know how hard it can be to keep a relationship going. So do our next guests. They've been counseling couples for more than 30 years.
More than 30 years. Their work is based on a model called Soul Healing Love. Welcome Dr. Tom Rodgers and Dr. Beverly Rodgers with Rodgers Christian Counseling and the Institute for Soul Healing Love. Good morning to both of you. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
An important topic, keeping our relationship strong. We were just talking right before we came on the air. I think so many times people just put it on autopilot and think that marriage is going to be easy.
We say all the time that falling in love is very different than staying in love. People want it to stay the same, and it doesn't.
Right.
In fact, I tease him all the time. If he drinks the last Diet Coke and I have a caffeine headache, I'm not in love today. In fact, I'm kind of homicidal.
She's mean. She's mean.
And, but
we need help.
That's part of what it is to do the journey of marriage, is you got to work at it. And couples, when they come in, we say you got to be intentional. It's a new word, mindful, intentional. Pay attention so that you don't let your marriage go off track.
It's so important. So talk about this concept of soul healing love. What do you mean by that?
Soul Healing Love is basically a deep, insight-oriented kind of therapy. We deal with what is happening, but also what is the root cause of what's happening. Many times we found that issues are on two levels at the same time. There's a literal issue, and then there's a deeper symbolic meaning. So soul healing goes toward the deeper meaning of a conflict rather than just resolving the conflict itself.
Yeah, because a lot of times you're not fighting about he forgot something at the grocery store. That's not really what it's about.
No.
Okay.
And one mate will go, you're being silly, that's a silly thing. But really what's going on in their partner is it's something from the past. It's baggage from a previous relationship. It could go all the way back to childhood. Something that they brought into the marriage that they might even be aware of. An insecurity, a feeling of lack, that mate triggers it, and they are off. And if they don't know that, if you don't know what you're dealing with, you'll have a hard time healing it.
Yeah, you talk about just the past and how the past wounds may hurt things, but it also affects you in the future because you may not fight fairly based on what you've done in the past. Can you explain that?
Well, when needs are not met, usually in childhood, they develop what we call soul wounds. And soul wounds are issues that interrupt or incapacitate us to do a relationship in a healthy way. So what we try to do is help people understand that there is a root cause to whatever's happening. There is a wound, a need that was not met that creates a fear. The problem is when we internalize a fear, let's say abandonment or rejection, and we begin to live as if we expect that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it will affect present relationships and it will affect the future because our outlook is distorted by the message of the fear.
And then what we've noticed is that, let's just say that you were criticized as a child and your mate says something like, I wish you would, keep the checkbook balanced. Well, all of a sudden you're reactive. You're furious because you were criticized earlier in a previous relationship or childhood, and say the mate was just making a comment or pointing something out, but you see it as terrible criticism. Now you're fighting in a very, very destructive way over something you didn't even know that you had to deal with.
Right, that totally makes sense. Okay, so some advice for the soul healing couple. You say you need to learn to communicate effectively and fight fairly. So maybe it's not being so quick to take offense or things like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Reactivity is what we call it. Dredging at something from the past that causes you to be highly emotional in the present is to become aware of those things. Really take a look at it. And we're not blaming anybody. We just know that we all have baggage. You can't live in this world without baggage.
You mentioned, healing your past. That's something you have to work through. Also, dating each other regularly. Talk about why that's so important.
Well, we always encourage people to have a date night once a week if they can. Just because we get so involved in family and work and kids and, kids are involved in multiple sports and all that, that the thing that suffers many times is the relationship between each other. And yet that relationship is so important to the whole family because kids will draw a sense of security from mom and dad's relationship with each other. So we always encourage a date night that doesn't focus on our schedules or what the kids are going to be doing, but just how are we doing? It's almost like a staff meeting for a marriage.
We call it us talk because women will say, we don't talk, and men say we talk all the time. But us talk is, how are we doing?
Yeah.
What do you like? Now, 40 years, we've been married 40 years, and we can still manage to come up with some unusual questions to ask each other.
Oh, that's great.
Because it's always nice to learn something new about your partner, even if you have to stretch to find it.
Right. Positive affirmations, that's important too.
Absolutely. 3 to 1. Gottman's research, he's a famous marital researcher, says 3 to 1 is all you need. So basically, if you're going to make a criticism, at least sandwich it in with 2 positives. So we say at least come up with 1 thing positive you can say to your partner every day.
That's good stuff. You will be the guest speakers on an upcoming cruise. This is very cool. It's called the 2 to Tango Relationship Cruise. Can you quickly tell us about that?
It's a wonderful cruise. We are actually going on NCL. We are going to learn about relationships. We're going to learn about marriage, money, life, and the cruise will give money to the Coalition for Domestic Violence.
Wow.
So that cause is so important to all of us who work with families. And we'll learn to tango. We will actually take tango lessons. And I've married a non-dancer, so if I can get this athlete out there to dance, then you guys can come and learn to tango with us.
I love it. The 2 to Tango Relationship Cruise, again, it's August 26th through September 2nd. Leaves from Miami, sails to the Bahamas. To learn more, visit cruisesforcauses.com, cruisesforcauses.com, or you can call the number on your screen. It is 866-314-2433. It could be a very healing time for you and your partner. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you here. We'd love to have you back again.
Love to.
Indeed. Well, coming